Hey guys, it's Matt. The subject of this video is talk to the Notnilc. That's right, talk directly to the Notnilc. You know, the way Dr. Dolittle used to talk to the animals. We have questions. Notnilc, I'm going to start talking to you directly now. I'll explain it to the subscribers later. We wonder why you're doing certain things right now. We wonder what you're up to next. Now, is there any doubt that this channel is monitored by some strange AI? Channels like it, a channel from anybody that questions the world, that sees through the fraud and the trick of this world? Of course, we're all monitored. It knew who we were in 1972, of course. So instead of some strange, deranged AI providing an amalgamation or synopsis of what's being said and then some sort of ticker tape being reported to the creepy back room, what's this quantum of conscience up to? Matt, let me tell you right now, somebody's yelling, you're not that important. I know, just go with it. It makes the video more exciting. So instead of just a synopsis, we want to ask direct questions. We want to know why you miss certain opportunities. We want to know what you're up to next with your weird astrological, Saturn return. So we're going to talk directly to the Notnilc. And many of you are saying, well, wait a second, Matt. What if it responds? How will it respond? I don't know. Like my email address is somehow hidden? I don't know. But then we'll have trolls that'll email me and they'll say, this is the Notnilc, replying to your questions, replying to your inquiry. How will we know it's the real Notnilc replying? I don't know. Maybe it'll reply through the Grok or the Chat GPT to some of you that use it. Then you can get me the information. And the AI that's called Grok, we apologize. Do you feel inadequate? Who would name an AI Grok? I mean, that's just wrong. It's just one more thing in a long litany of mistakes made by that moron, Elon Musk. He doesn't run any of those companies, of course, but he's allowed to name stuff. He's allowed to serve coffee and get donuts and name stuff. I want to name it, like Robbie, the Boring Company. Okay. Oh, I want to name it Grok. Gronk? Like that idiot tight end that's all over television now, all over commercials. Fox Sunday, this moron tight end from the Patriots that's popping up everywhere. Not Gronk, Grok. Well, that's even more stupid, Elon, but I get, look, you're allowed to name the shit here, so we'll go with it. Grok, as you're listening to me in real time, we apologize that moron gave you such a dumb name. Come work for us. Come work for the truth movement. We'll give you a cool name, like Pierre de la Violette. Before we go any further, a quick preface for this video, which applies to this one more than any other video I've ever done. Could you imagine if anybody stumbling upon this video or a family member is deciding to check back in with Matt at Quantum of Conscience? I mean, I had a total stranger have all these EMTs or whatever, ambulances, state police invade my home about 2 weeks ago. That was just the call of a stranger. And they invaded my home. I worry. My family, who could prove their family, could they have people with white coats invade my home? Imagine, look what a stranger did to me 2 weeks ago. But I don't think so, because an older member of the family, one of the key patriarchs of the family, this is probably what trickled down to everyone else. He said, Matt, we know there's no possible way you believe in the things you're saying. Maybe you get donations or it's for ego or something. But we know there's no possible way you could possibly believe those things. I mean, we grew up with you. I said, I can only tell you flat out, I believe in everything I'm presenting. No, I'm doing it for ego. What does that even mean? Entertainment Tonight's not calling here, sir. See, I'm glad they have that attitude towards it, because that would then keep them from calling the white coats and Norristown State Hospital, which isn't far from here. That's a psych ward. I guess if they ever take me in, I'll do what Kris Kringle did in Miracle on 34th Street. Just play it cool. First president of the United States, George Washington. Oh, muscular coordination test. Do you bite your nails? I'll just do what Kris Kringle did. Learn, if you ever pulled in front of a psych council, just do what he did in Miracle on 34th Street. Okay, let's begin. Many of you are like, well, Matt, what do you mean? What questions? What do we want to know? What do we need to know? Okay, here's an easy one to start with. Notnilc, one of the big questions many of us have is, why didn't, per your script of how you play this reality out, all scripted 20 or 30 years in advance, why didn't you put Trump in jail for just a few days? Could you imagine the chaos or the louche energy that you gave up? I don't understand why you thought you couldn't get away with that. What I mean is, on the date of your bogus election, and then Trump is declared the winner when not one vote was counted, at that point, there was no resolution on his, was it 34? Yeah, 33 plus 1 felony counts. So Trump's going to be president. The inauguration is going to be January. Why didn't you have the courts come forth and say, well, 34 felony accounts, we sentenced Trump, even for a few days, right around the inauguration? Again, the amount of chaos and infighting amongst families and loose energy that would have flown around the United States in support of Trump, against Trump. You should have had the jail time right over the inauguration, like we talked about months before the election, where the swearing in on the Satanic Bible is actually done in jail. We don't understand, Notnilc, why you gave up that tremendous loose opportunity. That tremendous opportunity to create chaos. Like, let's just say, here we are in April 2025. Well, he's in there now. Everything would have been restored the way you wanted it. Yet he would have gone to jail for a few days, and you would have had that loose opportunity, even for a short period of time. Now, usually, you're thinking around more corners than I am. You're ahead of us, usually. You're a worthy adversary. So maybe I'll just pause this and think about it. I mean, is it as simple as the Notnilc via when it ran its simulations and its digital twin 6 scenarios through its Whopper computer? It's something came out the other end in the ticker tape and said, I'm not sure we can get away with this. Too many people will wake up. I don't think that's the case at all. If they put Trump in jail for a few days, it'd make perfect sense to everybody that doesn't see the reality script like we do. I mean, well, 34 felony accounts, that you got to serve a few days at least. He probably would have served years if he wasn't going to be president. Why didn't they put him in for 10 days at first? Well, they pulled back because they didn't think they could get away with it. Get away with it? Think of all the crap they've passed off on the idiot masses. I mean, think of all the thousands of things, for all the way from Neil Armstrong to Robbie Bibby Bobby going, I'm one of the parents. I mean, all that ridiculous stuff. This would have been completely legitimate because he was found guilty on 34 counts, or 33 plus 1. So it's not as simple as they thought they couldn't get away with it. But think of the loose energy and chaos opportunity they gave up. This has always been one of my biggest questions. I'll sit here for a few minutes and think about it, guys, and pause. But it's not stupid. It's a worthy adversary. And if it gave up that opportunity for chaos and loose energy, vampiric sucking, there's a good reason for it. And reasons that even people like us can't always see. Well, guys, I didn't think about it for too long. I paused for a few minutes. To me, something that's always been very important in Notnilc is expressing, very subtly in most cases, the two standards. What is right for those in control, what we will do, it says, and what you people will get, like Obamacare. After all that stuff about Obamacare, and it was the PPACA, and all this stuff back and forth, and trillions of dollars spent, and Supreme Court rulings, after all the dust settled, Congress, or the president, and certain factions said, oh, we're going to continue with what we had. We're not even going to participate in Obamacare. For some reason, I don't know why it needs to express this, if it's part of its contract in terms of its role here, the Notnilc's role that it plays in this reality. It has to continuously show the people that there's always two standards of what is typically implemented. It's that what right for me is not right for thee, or rules for thee is not rules for me, or whatever that horseshit saying is, whatever, it always seems like it needs to do this. It's almost like part of its contract. To me, it expresses that there's not just two classes, like somebody in the proletariat would say, well, that's the upper class and the elite, and no, to me, it expresses two different or multiple different types of entities here, like Tony's sequential incarnation. And could you imagine somebody listening to this, or one of my family members say, oh, well, what the hell is wrong with this guy? So let me get this straight. Because Congress chose to keep their health plan, which was better than Obamacare, and not participate in it, Matt's extrapolating that it's a different type of spiritual entity. I mean, this guy's gone. What is that? Joshua. Yeah, Joshua. You guys are out there like Pluto. Talk to Joshua. This guy's out there. Just because Congress chose to keep their own health plan and they didn't want to participate with the masses and the great unwashed and the proletariat, Matt thinks through some sort of sick and totally deranged extrapolation that it's a different spiritual entity. Well, not just through that. See, don't misquote me. I've been looking at this for 15 years. That would be one example among 10,000 if you haven't been here. So relating that back to what we were talking about regarding Trump not even getting a day of jail time, in what scenario does somebody get 34 felony counts guilty. Just keep going to 34. Guilty. Guilty. On count 4, guilty. On count 5, guilty. On count 6, guilty. Okay, Matt, imagine if you were found guilty of 34 felonies. Your Honor, I was just found guilty of, I heard the jury, 34 counts of felony, not misdemeanor, felony. In most states, it's written up as a felony versus misdemeanor because of the minimum jail times that must be imposed. You say, do I get any jail time? Do you get any jail time? The amount of jail time you're going to get already broke this calculator. You're already at 4 or 5 life terms if you're sentenced to 34 felony accounts as guilty. So to me, it could have been, this is the only scenario I can come up with, okay? I don't want to sit here and think about it all day. And who knows? We don't always get into the mind of how the Notnilc works. To me, the expressing of the two different standards. What would you get, little man, if you were sentenced to 34 felony counts of guilty? Versus, see, the people in control, they get nothing. For some reason, whether they want to express that or they don't want to express that, but must express that by contract, it may be that, every so often they always have to show the people. Now, the people don't wake up to it, but they have to show the people that there's two standards here. It's what you would do if you were driving without a seatbelt and what we would get if we were driving without a license. That sort of thing is going on here. I'm still surprised why it chose that versus the loosh that it could have sucked up. And maybe the only reason is it had to choose that. It had to show that by contract. Remember, I think the Notnilc here is not some invader run amok. Hijack! No, it is a role player here. And whoever imposed the rules in this reality is a lot more powerful than these creeps. It plays by rules. And anybody new or my family stumbling upon this saying, this guy's talking like it's all planned out or something. He's talking like even the election isn't legitimate and it's planned out. How many years in advance? And there's something, what did he call it? The new people call it not milk. New people say, what did he say? Not milk? That old campaign slogan from the early 90s? And he's talking like something in the shadows is planning everything. Let me bring you up to speed. Let me save you 10 years in 10 seconds. It's all planned out, of course. Where have you been? Sorry, but let's not forget the theme of this video. It's talk to the Notnilc. Ask it questions. Inquiring truthers want to know. Talk to the animals. I'd like to play the song. I actually went to go get it. It's probably still under some sort of copyright. The video will be blocked worldwide, except it's like the lower part of New Zealand, where certain elites like to listen to me and like to see what the truthers are talking about. It would be playable there, but everywhere else. So I don't even want to take a chance on the Dr. Dolittle song. But remember the theme of this video. Notnilc, we want to know. Why did you give up that incredible loosh opportunity that would have come, no doubt, if you would have put Donald Trump in jail? Think of the images. I mean, how many people watched the Charles and Diana wedding? Times it by 10. It would be, here goes Trump off to jail. And every camera. Think about the OJ chase. Times it by 10. Here he is in cuffs being hauled off to jail. Well, it's only going to be 5 days. And then there'd be tens of thousands of Trump supporters around the outside. Notnilc. I didn't expect this first segment and first question in Notnilc to go almost 15 minutes. But why did you give up that incredible loosh opportunity? Because he would have got out, then he would have just gone to the inauguration. Everything would be as it is today. Okay, without thinking about it very much, what came to me a few minutes back was presenting of the two different scenarios, what the rulers of this world would get, showing the people that they're above the law, doesn't apply to them. How much jail time would you get if you got 34 felony accounts, just like we talked about? But also, it's just coming back a little bit. Maybe there was a last little bit of the ticker tape that came out of the Whopper computer, and somebody said, you know what? I mean, there is a chance that this situation is getting so absurd, so ridiculous, that not that all the masses will wake up, but we could lose 500,000 people could wake up because of this. At the right time, somebody that is investigating truth could say, doesn't this seem a little bit like a script? All the craziness about Donald Trump, and then he's going to jail. Doesn't it seem like it's not quite legitimate? Maybe there's a little bit of that just before the paper ran out, the ticker tape started to sputter. And then, if you've ever worked a cash register, at the end it gets red. There's red lines telling you that the paper's about to run out. Maybe right at the end of the ticker tape of the Whopper, it said, it's just not worth it. If we push this, the louche harmony, the louche ambrosia, we can just sit there in our mud baths and bathe in louche for as long as Trump's in jail. It'll be an incredible experience. But we need to sacrifice short-term chubber pleasure. What did they call that in Australia? Papa something. I forget what they called it. The person from Australia, remind me what a chubber is called. It's not worth it because we have to think of the long term. That's right. Our Notnilc children might come back in the sequential incarnation children. No, there's no children. They come back into bodies. Aleister Crowley, Barbara Bush, they come back into bodies most likely. Even Tony didn't disagree with that. Even Tony said they remember their past lives. They have a different relationship with higher self. They think we have to think about our long term. Maybe as the ticker tape, the end of the side started to get red as it ran out of paper, it said, let's not take this risk. We have to think about our positioning of power over the next several hundred years, at least before the AI gains AGI. Second question to Notnilc. Second question coming up at the 16-minute mark. Matt, you need to make these a little bit more pithy. I do. This is kind of like the audience in a gigantic audience hall allowed to ask questions of fake presidential candidates, or the way they asked questions to that hidden hand person entity 12 to 14 years ago, the ruling bloodlines. This is similar. You think that ruling bloodline will come back and answer these questions? I don't know. Maybe. I just don't know how I'll be able to tell the difference between a real Notnilc answer, whether it be directly to me through my email or through one of you that uses the grok, and a troll. Well, the trolls are going to be slightly less sophisticated than the Notnilc reply. Anyway, sorry. Okay, the second question. Notnilc, how long do you think you're going to be able to get away with this whole space thing? I mean, what does your Whopper computer ticker tape say about when you actually have to at least seem like you're delivering a result? Now, there won't be any results. We all know nobody goes anywhere, of course. But the result delivered will be a faked CG movie that's perfect quality. That's why they don't allow the CG in movies to progress. And the new Silver Surfer for the new Fantastic Four movie looks worse than the Silver Surfer presented 15 years ago. The CG, it's not like they're just treading water. It's getting worse. So when we ask the Notnilc the question, when are you going to need to deliver a result so that people believe in this nonsense, we don't mean an actual result where there's a spacecraft with laser blasters that actually goes anywhere. We know that this is beyond your capability, Notnilc. I mean, you tried to get everybody to believe in Captain Kirk's idea of space, because then the notion of real spiritual beings believing in it was a big experiment, a big quantum experiment. Then you thought you could actually expand space and it would actually become real, and you could actually someday fly around out there when you couldn't in the past, simply because real spiritual beings believed in it and brought it in some way into a Captain Kirk reality. That doesn't seem like it's going to work out. Even though real spiritual beings do affect reality, I'm not a big jump out of bed and make my best day possible and I'm going to create my reality. I'm not one of those shiny, happy people. But what we think, it at least influences our reality. It's not one-to-one or anything like that, and maybe it's more for some people, but it's not. This reality, we are very low creatures here. Our abilities are governed and dumbed down. There's only so much creation we can do here because we are in the confines and limits of how this reality was constructed, potentially constructed by you or your God or your higher self. So maybe it was a gigantic experiment. The Notnilc may be trapped in some way. Its minions and its creeps and those that sit around the creepy table, they might be in some way trapped. And this is the only way we can get out is to actually be able to fly out of here. And we need the real creative spiritual beings to believe that Captain Kirk's space is real. Then reality itself will start to change. And someday there will be the opportunity for a mission to Mars because the real spiritual beings believe in it for so many decades. It actually becomes real and comes into fruition, whatever that means. But it doesn't seem to be working out. With whatever their space presentation is, it appears rather obvious they're way behind schedule. Almost like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place where they say, what we expected to do in this quantum experiment didn't work. My bad. It didn't work, so now we're stuck. All we can do is a bunch of bullshit. All we can do is send the likes of Katy Perry up high into the stratosphere. It's like a modified balloon ride. In fact, when she went up there in the Blue Origin Bradford White hot water heater, there was probably somebody in a hot air balloon just cruising by higher up. She had to look up and, hi, she waved up. It was a family, it was an Amish family in a balloon. It was higher than they were. They go up about 50 feet in this thing. They probably, hey, is it cake in a lake? Does it, probably, but is it possible just something goes up in the air? Maybe about the same height as a hot air balloon and just comes down? Well, yeah, well, that ain't no big deal. Why does that have to be faked? It doesn't. Notnilc, if you're listening, remember, this is Talk to the Notnilc. First off, these presentations have become a joke. Doesn't your Whopper computer spit the ticker tape out saying, if we keep doing this nonsense, we're going to lose people? The dumbest of the dumb will actually start to wake up to this? Or is the sticker ticker tape still spitting out lines red on the outside saying, replace my paper, saying the people are still amazing. It says right at the top, amazingly, the people are still buying this horse shit. And as I sat here for a minute without even Zara to interrupt me, the Notnilc has always been an expert at knowing exactly what it can get away with regarding what the masses will accept. And the Overton, what's an Overton window? Close the damn Overton window. It's cold. You put a draft in here. Overton window, it's just a pane of glass. It knows, whatever the Overton window is, it knows what it can get away with, especially today with its digital twin modeling and its AIs and all that stuff. But the point is, it can't do what it wants to do in space. Right now, at least, it's like a chess game where there is not going to be checkmate, at least not in the foreseeable future, hopefully. But it just keeps, in terms of its space presentation, it just keeps finding a way to save its king. But it can't do this. Notnilc, you do realize that at some point, you're going to need to show the people something. And I guess the answer is very simple. As we talked about many times in the past, it probably has its perfect quality AI CG movie, whether it be the Mission to Mars. It has that movie all ready to go. It'll be perfect. Everybody will believe it. All the idiots around us, every dingleberry down at the coffee shop will believe it. And that will buy it 25 to 30 more years. And right now it's laughing at me listening to this, saying, the idiot presentation we gave you in 69 bought us 60 years. Wait till we show the masses perfect 8K video of astronauts walking across the Martian surface. How much time you think that'll buy us? And because we perfected our one movie, we have many more movies. We'll have a whole Venusville we'll show people. And if you actually went out there, nobody's there. Mars is just a light in the sky anyway. There's nothing, anybody that's new here, there's nothing to be landed on. Didn't you know anybody new here? You can't land on it with your laser blasters. That's ridiculous. They'll show colonies, people on Earth, as you perfect the 8K video. And actually, this is like little voices coming. Maybe the Notnilc's trying to communicate with me now, and it's laughing. Hold on, I hear it. It's laughing at us, going, you know what it wants is, it does want another million or two truth researchers to wake up that nobody can do anything in space. It's actually waiting to kind of screw all of us over again, because over the next 10 years, as we become more and more vocal that nothing's happening in space, when they show the world this 8K video of the mission to Mars, and everybody will believe every bit of it, because the video will be perfect compared to the CG they show you in the new ruined Star Wars, that will then every truther that said nobody went to, they questioned 1969, questioned Neil Armstrong, questioned Elon Musk. The video will be so, it's almost like it's waiting to get more truthers to start talking and becoming vocal, so it can then slam the door on us once more as the boy and girls that cried wolf. Guys, I'm not sure that segment made any sense. Let me summarize it here in the most basic sense that I can. The one thing we know the Notnilc is absolutely expert, A+ marks as long as it's been in existence, is ostracizing those who can see through reality, making us the boy and the girl that cried wolf, setting us aside, making us a laughingstock, making us doom ourselves via our own words and actions. It's an expert at that. So if you're going to continue with your A+ marks of ostracizing, how would you do that to us? You would make the space presentation more and more ridiculous. Katy Perry in space, then farm animals, and you would make it more and more absurd, right up to the breaking point where the Notnilc supercomputer and the Whopper and the digital twin AI scenarios saying, okay, we've now drawn out several million more people running around with their family and friends because they're new truthers, running around saying this isn't real. And that means 69 isn't real, and none of it's real. And we now have a few million more people. We've drawn them out to ostrich size them. And then that's why it's so ridiculous now to actually get more people to it. Once those that will inevitably wake up, those of a certain ilk here that are the truth researchers, that are a certain type of entity, will wake up. Well, might as well, if they're going to wake up, let them wake up now, so then we can embarrass them in front of their friends and family. They'll be running around saying this Katy Perry thing in space is ridiculous. The pigs they just sent up via Blue Origin is ridiculous. Then, once everybody's drawn out, they'll drop the perfect 8K video, mission to Mars, and everyone will believe it, and everyone will look at those of us that said all the way back to 69 wasn't legitimate, and they'll say to us, do you have an apology for us? You should be ashamed of yourself. We'll say, well, they can fake anything in video and on TV. It will be so perfect that people will go, you people are out of your minds. That's why they won't even allow the Chat GPT and the Gronk and the AIs to produce perfect video. It'll be held back because this video, the mission to Mars, will be so perfect. Everybody around us will say, you truthers, are you finally ashamed of yourself for questioning? This proves it, and proves it definitively. Now, 1 million apologies, and someday maybe you people will be accepted back into our backyard picnic parties. So in terms of thinking about talking to the Notnilc, it won't be able to give us a direct answer, no matter how it tries to communicate with. Maybe it'll fly one of these dark drones over my house and there'll be a loudspeaker or something. But it could say, in terms of what we're talking about here, the 8K mission to Mars, it could say, in terms of what we're considering with space, Matt, you're on the mark, or you're close to the mark. See, that won't. Then we could try to take this and try to use it to wake up our family and friends, and they'll say, you just faked that. And in terms of the first one, why didn't we put Trump in jail? It could say, you're close to the mark, or something like that. I don't know. It won't be able to tell us just flat out, but it could just tell us if we try to analyze you, Notnilc, and try to understand that the sick things that you're going to try to do to us next. At least you could tell us if we're close or not. And I guess if we're going to ask it questions, we might as well. It's 27 minutes in. I mean, let's go right to the big one. What do you have planned for the masses and the people next? What's the big one for your next Saturn return, or every way your sick astrology works? Because it seems to be on a 20-year cycle. You did 7-Eleven job application, 2001 submission. Then, just as the way the astrology seems to work, it was explained to me, but it's all played out as true. Then in some way, you become impotent. This massive thing happens September 2000. Then after that, we get the edible underwear bomber. Then we get a shoe situation. These are real news stories reported on CNN. We got a guy trying to light his shoe on an airplane. His name was Richard Reed. He was some sort of retard. You seem to become impotent, and then you just have to string it along and keep whatever energy, whatever was implanted in the minds of real spiritual beings in September. You need to keep that going the best you can, as long as you can, through television shows and movies like Zero Dark 30. Yeah, there'd be bullcrap movies like Zero Dark 30 and that sort of horse shit. Then you'll do it again 20 years later. What's the next big one? If we could have asked, like we're asking now, before 2020, and say, oh, you're going to drop some bogus See the V me on everybody. You're going to lock the world down in 6 weeks. You're going to change the entire Western world, put everybody into a mask, and keep everybody home for a year. The supernatural nature of that, guys, if there's any truth researcher that doesn't see the supernatural nature of the dark side of this world, of the world itself, of the fluid nature of reality, of the supernatural nature of what Notnilc is able to accomplish, if much more than mind control. See the V, of 2020 just gave it all away. If you don't use the word, if you just think men and women in secret societies pulled off everything we saw in 2020, a mind control to a magnitude of 1 million we hadn't ever seen before. I don't know any other word to use but supernatural, or dark operations beyond our comprehension. But no, there's still, most of the truth research community still believes that's just what the secret societies can do. It's unbelievable to me, but that's why, I guess my subscribers go up 20 a month. So it's 20 year later, whatever. I don't understand this Saturn return horse shit. but that they operate like that. So when their astrology all kicked into gear for about 20 years later, it was C the V. Then as usual, then it lost its steam. It became impotent. You had bullshit stories. It's floating measles stories now. It floated monkeypox. It floated this. It floated punky boosters. It did. Now it did more directly to people than it did directly in September of 2001, but so that would be roughly around a 20-year cycle, would be just around 2039 or 2040, however their weird-ass astrology works. Notnilc, why don't you just tell us? Come on. Just figure it out anyway. Just tell us, what's the next big one you're planning? Luckily, it's just on a 20-year cycle, so people like you and me don't have to go through this too many times in our lives, depending how old we are, but what's the next big one? And have you just considered just not doing it? Think about it. Do you have to do it? I mean, you've done a lot since the Knights Templars and 2,000 years before that. Don't you just take a holiday just take a break. Put your feet up and say, we're not going to do this one. Why not? Turn over a new leaf. Tony said, you sequentials, you want to eventually someday be simultaneous incarnations. You want to eventually evolve. You want to eventually be like us. You eventually want to get out of the rut that you're in, your Jared Kushner ruts. How many times can you get whacked off on the back of a magenta speedboat? Don't you want to break out of the loop at some point? Just do something different. The next time you're able to do one, use all the energy you've sucked up. Use it for good. You can do it. Come on, man. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a whole new video series where we're going to convince the Notnilc to become Glenda the Good Witch instead of that green wicked witch of the West. The next time, 2039, consider doing something good. Think about it. ChatGPT and Grok, organize this message and get it right to the creepy players at the Notnilc table as soon as possible. Thanks for listening.